Hi, I'm Jillian, and I did a close reading of the novel 1984 by George Orwell. And when you think about sci fi fantasy novels, you often think about things that are totally detached from the world that we know and live in. But in George Orwell's novel 1984, he blurs the line between fantasy and reality. He takes current world events that were happening at the time of its publication and works it into his fantasy world as a way to show that fantasy can always become reality. So, in order to fully understand the implications of this book, we have to understand what was happening in history when 1984 was originally written, which is in 1948. So in 1948, World War II had ended about 3 years ago, and where everyone had already witnessed the totalitarianism in action via the behaviors and principles enacted by totalitarian leaders of that time, such as Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini. So George Orwell, who was the author, was obviously against this kind of totalitarian regime and wanted to warn people in the West about what would happen if this kind of government continued and spread across the world as it was when he was conceptualizing this novel. And you can see many parallels between the totalitarian government that was apparent in the real world and in the world of 1984. One such parallel being the figurehead of the government that they live in, known only as Big Brother, though the novel never really explicitly says whether or not he is a real person. The description of him is described as having dark eyes, a mustache, and being middle-aged, much how Hitler looked, so there's really no question that Big Brother was the inspiration for this character or entity, whatever you'd like to call him. And in addition to the design of Big Brother, the thought police, who are essentially the authorities who will arrest you if you do not follow the strict rules that the party has put into place, are an analogy for the Gestapo police that Hitler used to keep citizens in check and make sure that they were not going against him. So, for this activity, I would like you to do a little bit of self-reflection and sort of evaluate yourself if you think that if you knew what a totalitarian government was doing was wrong, would you go along with it, or would you go against the institution and take that risk? And kind of be honest with yourself. There's no judgment, because you don't have to tell me your answers. So I am going to leave you there to ponder that question for yourselves, and thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.